Hey everybody, I hope you're doing well. It's been a while since I've done an acrylic pour. I've been doing angels and the collaboration with Heather Mader that will come out this Saturday, so it'll come out probably before this video of a peacock pour. With the Christmas holidays, I had lots of commissions for standard traditional artwork, and so I have not had a chance to do pouring, and I'm just chomping at the bit to do something enjoyable. I've had some bad news about my mother and her health situation. She's been given 6 months or less to live due to cancer and heart issues. And so, you know, for me, my art is my therapy, and it kind of centers me and keeps me grounded. And so therefore, I come to my pouring table. So today I am going to show you ARTEZA's pouring acrylic colors. There's 32 colors to choose from. I have never used pre-mixed pouring colors before, ever. I actually prefer to mix my own. I think the quality is mostly better, and it's more economical, especially if you pour on a frequent basis, but I am willing to give these a try and give you my honest opinion on how they do. So these were metal rounds I got either at Michael's or Hobby Lobby about a year ago. I taped off the kickstand, which will help stand it up when you're done, and it also has a tab to hang by. These are very lightweight, like brushed aluminum, something like that. They're flexible, but they're great to pour on, and I don't think I've seen them since I purchased them. Maybe you can find them somewhere online, but so I'm going to do a pour on this, and I'm going to experiment with the new pouring paints from ARTEZA, and I'm just making sure that it's not too flexible and it's not going to sink in the middle. I'm going to pour on an album in another video, and on a wooden palette in another video, and I'll explain where I got that from. So I'm just looking at all the paints that I've got in the box, determining what colors I have, and they give you 4 whites, 2 blacks, 6 neons, 4 metallics, and the rest are regular colors. I noticed they did not include orange or a deeper green or a deeper purple, but otherwise you've got a pretty good selection of colors. So these are just 2-ounce bottles, and so keep that in mind as far as your ratios for whatever size painting you're doing. I'm reading the instructions on the box just to make sure there's no special instructions, and it's just, you know, mix your colors together and pick them out the way you want to do it, and pour from there. And it takes 24 to 48 hours to dry, and they dried pretty smooth with the satin finish, just to let you know. But the overall thing is the consistency of this paint. I'm removing all the seals on the lids and everything if you're watching me do all this. But the consistency to me was too thin, transparent feeling, and as you will see, everything dried darker except for the white and black, and you'll see it in the second portion of the video. This one I'm going to do a sink strainer with the neons, and you see how I'm putting the white on this metal. It's very see-through, very fluid. My typical recipe would be Artist Loft white paint mixed with Floetrol 1:1 and water added. So this was, you know, a little thin for me. I did love the vibrancy of the colors while they were wet, but after this pour, I will show a picture of the dried piece, and you will see the major difference. And then I'm going to do a second pour, which is a traveling tree ring pour, and totally just black and white. It dried true to color, but it was black and white. See how quickly I've got it fast, sped up probably at least 20 times or something. I forget how much, but you see how quickly the paint moved. And the aluminum is kind of flexible, so I'm just making sure that it's not concave where it's, dipping down into the middle. But the vibrancy is beautiful while they're wet. There's no silicone in any of the colors. I took them straight out of the bottle, so nothing was added to them. But this is way thinner than my consistency of 1-to-1 paint with Floetrol ratio. I like my paint thicker, but not so thick that it cracks. I never have issues with cracking with my regular recipe. But I'm going to give my honest opinion for those that take acrylic pouring seriously, because I don't believe that you have to purchase pre-mixed pouring colors to have successful pours, and I think it's probably more expensive in the long run. I have used these metal tin pieces before, and I have put a spray primer on them just to help make the paint stick a little bit more. But if you're going to hang this or put it on the stand and you've got a clear coat over it, it's not going to get scratched up or removed by, off the metal. So you don't really have to worry much about preparing this metal kind of piece. So yeah, I decided that I wasn't going to get my perfect little shape in the center that looked like a flower, so I just totally decided to tilt. And then again, I'm just making sure that it doesn't curve inward where the paint puddles in the middle, but just a little bending and you can keep this aluminum stuff pretty level. And I just decided I'm add a little bit of color down at the bottom where the central part of it was before it was tilted. Sink strainer pours are one of the more fun pours that I really like to do. That can be quite fun, but I especially love to do it with rainbow colors. And, not everybody is into rainbow colors. And you can also pick out just a few colors that are just beautiful together. It could be soft turquoise and teal and a white and a metallic or bronze gold or copper, and it would be really pretty. You can always pick certain beautiful color combinations together. It could be jewel tones, but typically a sink strainer pour to me, if you tilt it off to one side, it's going to have a feathery look, or it's going to have a very psychedelic flower kind of feel if you keep it kind of centered. So I'm just trying to decide if, how much more I want to play with this and making sure that it's all level. I've got some pretty drips that happened on the puppy pad, but as you will see in a minute here, it dries much, much deeper. So a little bit disappointing on that spectrum. I'm assuming you could take one of these metal things and make a lightweight clock with it, but you would have to find a way to drill a center piece to put your clock mechanism through. Regardless of the outcome when it dries, you know, this to me, the process is more about what it's about as an artist. It's just the process and enjoying creating and just never really knowing what the outcome is going to be and just embracing the moment and relaxing with it. So that's kind of more important to me than anything. Something can always be poured over again later, or it can be embellished with artwork later. So I don't take myself too seriously. I just really enjoy it. So it's beautiful, wet. There it is dry. And you see the massive change after it dried. And it also had some little lumps in it. And I added no product to it except for what were in the bottles. You know, so there was a few little lumps that dried underneath the surface. But it dried really slick and smooth and more of a, you know, satin finish. So here I'm layering up white and black here. And this is a 5-ounce cup, so it took both of the bottles plus a little extra. And the canvas I used is a 10-inch canvas. And so I'm going to pour a tree ring pattern, but I'm going to move it around, and so thus it's called the traveling tree ring. But I've discovered that I really like the traveling tree ring. Sometimes it's more interesting than the tree ring itself. So sometimes I wiggle the cup, sometimes I don't. And I think with my typical artist loft, if I were using white and black, the artist loft, no silicone in it or anything, I think I would have gotten a little bit more pure black and white at the for the end result, but maybe not. But I still loved this one when it dried. I loved the patterns that it created. Here I'm going to use my heat gun just to pop air bubbles, but for no other purpose. I'm really liking it's almost like a winged effect. And I decided that I really needed a little bit more than 5 ounces of paint that I had in my cup. Or maybe I had about 4.5 ounces in my cup, but I decided to open up another bottle of white because they put 4 bottles of white and 2 of the black in the 32 pack. And I decided to add some white, and I didn't want to switch to another brand that I already have mixed up or anything. I wanted to keep it all ARTEZA Pour Paints. So I added white in the corners just to help with the stretching so I didn't lose so much by tipping off the corners. I wanted to preserve as much of that winged effect as I could. That area near my right hand, I was really trying to keep as much of that as I could. And I'll use my hand to kind of block the paint from going off the edge of the canvas as much as I can, and I'll sometimes roll a pattern over the edge with my hand to continue something over the edge. And I decide right about there I don't want to tilt it much anymore because I really like what's going on the canvas. So I have that one white corner and I decide to go ahead and put a little bit more paint into my cup. And just do a little small ribbon pour in the corner. So I just put a few little squirts in the bottom of the cup, and I'm going to use a skewer, a bamboo skewer, to just give it a few swirls in the cup. So that was, probably less than an ounce of paint in the bottom of the cup there. I don't typically swirl through my paint, but I did want that ribbon kind of effect where it was a little bit linear looking like what was already on the canvas. So I like that really well, and got that one white area I'm just going to try to go through so it doesn't look so much there. Cover some edges, and this one will be called done, and I'm really pleased with the look of this one, and it dried pretty true to what it looked like when it was wet. And it's a very, kind of shiny satin finish that's very smooth. So that's the one plus that I can say about their pour paints. But that's pretty much the only plus I can say. So it's my honest opinion. So thank you so much for watching this video and my test with the ARTEZA Pour Paints. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and please share with your friends if you know of anybody that wants to learn how to paint with pour paints. And check out the links below the video where it says show more on your laptop or computer, or the down arrow on your mobile device. There's always information down there that usually is about the video, about products or colors and things like that. So check it out. My Facebook group page and all that. There's the dried picture. So it stayed really pretty. Thanks so much.